Dan was a good friend of mine. We met in medical school, and then we became good friends practicing together here in Opelousas. Dan was an extremely competent surgeon. He had a couple of years extra training, more than most surgeons. He actually trained in Memphis under one of the top surgeons in the country. And so Dan was well trained. He had superb diagnostic abilities. And back when we started in those days, there was no ultrasound, no CT, no MRI, no nuclear medicine, none of these modalities to help the surgeon make a diagnosis. A good surgeon had to be an excellent diagnostician, and Dan was that.
You know, Dan trained at a time that the surgeons were the warriors of medicine. They wielded the scalpel or the sword, like we used to say. And Dan was no different. He was never afraid to tackle hard cases, always strived to do the best he could for the patient. What a great guy.
Dr. Buller's reputation preceded him prior to my employment at Opelousas General. He was known as one of the best surgeons around OGH and Opelousas at that time. He was also considered a fine gentleman, very dedicated to the hospital as well as to his patients.
As I recall, as I feel about Dr. Buller, is that he is and was an excellent physician, an excellent general surgeon who was concerned about his patients and took excellent care of them. He was concerned with the welfare of the hospital, its growth, and the quality of its care. Currently, Dr. Buller is older than he used to be, which comes out as a no surprise to anyone. And at one point, we could carry a heavy shotgun and 3 boxes of shells to a distant duck blind. We can't do that anymore. Now our burdens are lighter and our worries are less.
Well, in 1975, I got a job at a little hospital in Ortonville as an orderly. Not a very glamorous job, but I wanted to go to medical school, and my dad thought that was a good place to start. He and Dr. Buller were friends. Dr. Buller was kind enough to allow me to observe surgery, which was certainly more exciting than being an orderly. And one day the administrator came in wanting to know why I wasn't on the floor, and Dr. Buller, in no uncertain terms, dismissed him from the operating room and told him that I was exactly where I needed to be. And I never forgot that.
Dr. Buller is a very caring man. He takes pride in making sure that his patients are comfortable, and he gives them the very best service that one could expect from a medical doctor, as well as an individual.
Dan Buller was my next door neighbor in my office building. He was a surgeon. He was a very prominent surgeon, not just for the Opelousas area, but from all around. People came to see Dr. Buller. He was extremely professional with his patients, with personnel at the hospital. He was extremely well liked. He taught me work ethic by example, because this man worked very, very hard, and I just learned my work ethic by watching him.
When Dan came here, he brought a mixture of academia and surgical dexterity, and somehow he was able to bring new technique and new knowledge that if it did exist, was not used very frequently. He was true quality medical, surgical treatment for the general population. And I've never, ever had a better friend in my lifetime.
I'm Daniel H. Buller. Like it here. I've been practicing for over 40 years. I would like to thank everyone at Opelousas for the Hall of Fame Award. I love working with the patients in Opelousas. I would like to thank everyone who has been a part of my career, my family and all the physicians at Opelousas General.